Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a city of immigrants in a nation of immigrants. They've come here for hundreds of years from hundreds of places. They've come buoyed by their dreams, by their faith, and by their determination. They are the courageous ones, the risk takers, the most ambitious, willing to leave their families, their cultures, their language, everything they have known, everything that has defined them. They leave for the hope of something better for themselves, and if not that, something better for their children. It's a story as old as the Mayflower, a story with as many chapters as there are American families, each chapter different, but still familiar, because with the exception of Native Americans, every American family has an immigrant at its beginning. Pittsburgh has always been fiercely proud of its immigrant past, but does it know its immigrant present? Today, Pittsburgh attracts fewer immigrants than many other cities, but they are here. Some are laborers, some doctors, some are educators, and some own their own businesses. Some are here legally, others are not. Some came on jet planes, others swam rivers and walked through deserts. Some risked their lives, and some lost their lives. But still, they come, as they always have. These are their stories, told in their own words, sometimes eloquently, sometimes in plain, halting language, but always spoken from the heart, and always a story hauntingly familiar to any American.
Sí, bueno, en México yo siempre era...
Well, I was trying my best to raise my family by myself in Mexico. And for many years I managed to do it, but as they got older and I sent them to high school and then to preparatory school, it got too much. I couldn't do it. I was working in a factory for the minimum wage. And I even went as far as to ask the factory owners for a second turn. I wanted to work double the number of hours that I was working, but they wouldn't do it. So I decided to come to the United States to see if I could get more money so they could continue their studies, so my children could continue their studies.
Moved to the United States in 2007, and I actually came on an international program through the World Bank where they were looking for innovations and ideas from all over the world on people that could bring innovative solutions to problems around the globe. And I did put in for the World Bank Global Marketplace competition. And out of I think 1,000+ applications, they just narrowed it down to just 100 people, and I was one of those.
Bueno, la vida de nosotros es muy difícil porque
our life is very difficult. In order for us to come to the United States, we have to cross Guatemala and Mexico. We have to ride the trains, and we have to be in a very cold weather, and we are very hungry.
Y sobre este viaje que yo hice para Estados Unidos, tengo un sufrimiento muy fuerte.
And regarding this trip that I made to come here to the United States, I have a very big suffering. We started to walk in the desert just to be much more inside the United States. In the desert, the guide got lost, and we last 5 days lost in the desert. We didn't have food. The guide told us we were to walk just one night and one day, and as he got lost, we didn't have enough water because we were not thinking about walking 5 days. We were so desperate, and I remember I was just falling and falling down, and I was asking God, please, God, help me.
En 94, cuando yo vine aquí a los Estados Unidos.
In 1994, when I first came to the United States.
Crucé el río.
I crossed across the river
con mi esposo
with my husband.
Y estaba muerta de miedo porque yo no sabía nada y cruzar un río para mí era difícil, nunca lo había hecho y nunca había salido de mi pueblo.
I was terribly frightened about everything. The idea of having to cross the river was very scary for me. I had never left my little village before, so I was just terribly frightened.
When I came to the United States and when I was crossing the border, I was raped. Because of this rape, I got a baby girl. It is a very beautiful baby girl that I love, and I feel very proud about her. When I first realized that I was pregnant, I wanted to have an abortion. And thanks God, I was not able to find a doctor or somebody else who might help me to have my abortion done. And now I am very happy because my daughter has been my mainly help, and I am very proud of her, and I thank God for her.
I was born and raised in Kenya, and I was not born like in town. I was born actually in the rural Kenya and went to school in rural Kenya, and went to school, high school, at the university, and then after university, that's when I started thinking of expanding my opportunities and thought of coming to a developed country. And then I started applying for a green card in what they call the lottery system and got a chance about 5 years ago.
They caught us and sent us back to Mexico.
Y
When this happened, my husband was very upset, but he said we had to cross again, even though it was sad for us. We had to make the crossing again.
Despite what they told you, you came back again.
Sin embargo, lo que te habían dicho, regresaron al río.
regresamos.
We had
porque-
no choice because we have nothing. We had no money. We don't have a home in Mexico. We had no place to go back to. And my husband wanted to come to the United States to earn a living, to help for his family, myself, and our child.
Unlike Maria, Rebecca Dosel was not poor. She came to the United States legally for medical care.
In Mexico, I was not close with anybody who was undocumented here. Okay, I actually learned the problem and meet people with this problem, even my Mexican people in here. Okay, in Mexico, I didn't see that, you don't talk about that, it's nothing that is common for my people to talk about, okay, for the people that I saw were my friends. In here, especially when I started to come to the Latino community, you realize that many of the people cannot get the legal documentation because there is no a legal way for them to obtain it, okay? Even they are working here, they are trying to get a better life for themselves and for their families, and they are doing a good thing also for this country. They are good workers. It's very difficult for these people to obtain a visa or to obtain just a working permit. And their lives becomes very difficult because they are scared. Sometimes the families are broken. Sometimes one of the members of the family are caught and they have to go to, and they send them back to Mexico, and the rest of the family remains here. And that's very, very sad, and that's very difficult because the family doesn't know what to do, you know.
That is exactly what happened to teenage Anna Karen and her family.
We passed Christmas, we passed New Year's by ourselves. We didn't have no one, you know, and sorry, but so just to see that my dad wasn't with us, it was just sad, and it was like we wanted to go with him, but like we have family here too, so they told us to wait here that we could, you know, go on and do this, but it was the awful thing in my life. Like, it was just terrible. And I don't think it's fair because I know we're not the only family who's been separated from their parents. It's so many families, not only us, and it breaks my heart to see how unfair is this, you're being separated from them, you know. And I told my dad, I was like, I will go with you, and And when I went to see him in jail, it was the worst experience I ever had, because seeing my dad dressed that way, with like he was a criminal, but he wasn't. The only thing that he did was he was here without papers, but they didn't care, and my dad couldn't even look at us in our eyes because he was ashamed. But I was like, Dad, why are you ashamed if you haven't done anything? The only thing is because we don't have papers, that's all.
The social differences in Mexico are huge. You might have a very good life, or on the other hand, you might have a very, very poor life. And when you are poor in my country, it is a circle that is very difficult to break, you know? You have to go to school, but you don't have the resources to go to school. You cannot pay for the school, so you cannot finish anything, and then you have to go back to do what maybe your father was doing, and they moved to big cities trying to get a better life. But in big cities, now there is not even a possibility for them to get a good job without education. So it's a big circle that is very difficult to break for the poor people.
Now, our parish, as you know, is a Latino parish, basically. And I know some people don't like that idea because they figure these people come in and take over. But they come to a country where they're coming to the same reason why we came here, to have a better life. And they're trying to work hard. I can relate to that because we went through the same thing that these people are going through right now. And so to me, I think I have a different perspective than most people that live in this country about immigration, about these people from Latin America come to our country. The only thing they're trying to do is to get something better for their family, like my dad did for us.
Sometimes the people have stereotyped the immigrants as the wrong way. This is not true. We are people, we have families, we have values, we have customs, traditions.
I think the problem, with Americans is they see immigrants as threats rather than seeing them as gifts. We bring so much to the country. We bring the gift of our culture, of our tradition, of our language, of our art. It makes the culture here richer.
And the first thing that was the hardest thing is when we came here was that, first of all, you couldn't speak English. So it's very hard. And people thought that you weren't very smart because everything you did, they thought that you were dumb or something like that. So that was kind of hard to get used to that.
I didn't know English at all. So it was hard for me when I came here because, I couldn't understand anything, so.
I started hanging out with a lot of Americans. A lot of my friends are Americans, and they would make fun of me at first, and I didn't care. I'm like, just teach me, and that's how I got better with time. Every day I learned something different, actually.
Unfortunately, sometimes what the immigrants learn is an unwelcome lesson, a lesson about prejudice.
I just moved down not long ago to my new apartment, my new place, my new home, and I was driving home, and the police started following me through the first stop sign, second stop sign, third stop sign, the fourth stop sign. And here you go, he pulled me over, and I just parked, and he asked me for all my documents, driver's license, I gave it to him, insurance, registration, I gave him all that. He went to his vehicle. Then they used the searchlight to look in my vehicle everywhere. I was just there at night. I was coming back from CMU, where I've gone to give a talk on Africa to the international student there. I was all dressed in my African attire, so apparently they know this like a foreign person. He doesn't know nothing. They think I'm just dumb. And they looked through the whole vehicle, took my insurance, then he called for backup. Before I knew it, there was 3 police vehicles around me.
Ese miedo siempre lo he tenido, porque nosotros sabemos cómo estamos en este país.
She said that they always have that fear because they know that they're in this country,
Nosotros tratamos de respetar la ley que está aquí.
And they always try to respect the law in here.
Porque nosotros tratamos de estar lo mejor para que no nos pase nada, pero.
So they try to do everything right, so nothing happens to them.
They look at somebody coming in as the threat other than somebody coming to actually contribute to what others are doing, as others are doing. So we are not threats. We are actually there to come and team up and contribute, and we have such variable capabilities that we can help, or rather that we can contribute.
I just met that person, and he was like, oh, where are you from? Because I see that you have an accent. I was like, I'm from the Congo. Oh, the Congo, so it's a lot of jungle. So have you seen a lion? Like, have you been close to a lion, like face to face? I was like, well, I had to go to the zoo to actually meet a lion. So it's not like I'm walking and then the lion is walking close by me. Yeah.
Quien me da fuerzas para salir adelante.
Well, what keeps me going is my daughter, and because of her, I don't care about being humiliated, treated badly, insulted at work, and also many people, they have to be here because they have children in their own country, so they keep sending money to their children for them to have a good life and don't be hungry in their country.
It's hard work because the first one, you have a lot of humiliation because I speak good English and they say, oh, this is not good. You start to do something you never do in your life. You try to do, oh, you're not good.
Maybe America itself doesn't know what refugees and immigrants contribute. They always think about, there are people who are coming over here maybe to beg or, depending on them, without thinking that maybe these people have extra something that they can contribute, to the country itself. So people are just afraid, like in America, I think people are afraid, like these are strangers that come here to take our jobs and maybe they don't have anything to offer to the country.
But of course, these immigrants, as all who came before them, have much to offer. Their determination and their energy defined them.
I feel very blessed. I have been very lucky. I was able to get my training. I was able to get my training in one of the best hospitals in the country and, as a matter of fact, in the world. And right now, as a pediatrician, I feel, as I said before, that I've been very blessed with all the things that I have received, that I need to give back to the community, to the country, to the United States, and to the people that I can serve.
Tenía muchas monedas ahí acumuladas.
So she used to see buses going by the front of the house, and she would ask her brother-in-law, where are they going? Where do these buses go? And he would tell her, well, they go to the center of town. And she said, where all the high buildings are? And he said, yes. And she said, but there must be work there for me. And he would say, no, calm down. Things are going to change bit by bit. You'll have to wait. And she said, but I have been waiting for a month already. Said, my brother-in-law used to leave money lying around. So I picked it up one day. I picked up a bunch of money and I went out and I got on a bus and I with signs and sign language, I communicated with them, and somebody got up and helped me with a few words in Spanish, and they told me how much it was, and she said, I wanted to go to the place where the high buildings were. So she wandered around looking for something that would indicate that there were Mexicans here. She said, every city has Mexican restaurants. She said, so she wandered around the city, and she finally found a place called Cielito Lindo, and she went in and she said, I want some work. And they said, well, we're looking for somebody to work, and that's how she found work.
They're hardworking people because they are here, and they survive, and they make a life, and they bring their families. And you know what I really admire of these people? It is whatever they earn, they will always send money back to Mexico. And that is something that it is really amazing for me. You can't just come, make more money, have a nice house, and forget about that. This is my new life, okay? I don't want to remember anything about my country. I don't want to remember anything about Mexico. But they don't do that. They keep sending money. They keep sending money to their families. They send money to their own cities to make them better. So for me, that is really amazing, how good these people are.
If we immigrate from Italy to here, or if we go from here to another country, you're trying to move somewhere. When you move even from city to city, you're moving to try to get a better job usually, or something better for your family to get better. And that's what it's all about. I don't care what we do in our life. That's the goal, to try to do something better for our kids and for ourselves.
When I choose to become a pediatrician, even before I came to this country, one of the things that worried me the most is that a lot of kids, when they are growing up, for example, they never hear a word of encouragement or a positive word. And that's one of the things that I try to do in my job. Regardless, if I'm seeing a Latino kid or an African American kid, I make sure that they know that somebody cares about them, that they are smart, that we think that they have all the potential that they can have, that they can be whatever they want to be.
My father always encouraged us that we do not want you to come back here and do what we've been doing. We like it, but we want you to do better things. We want you to be doctors. We want you to be teachers. We want you to be everything. So he kept encouraging us, and he worked really hard to make sure that he raised our tuition.
I just feel I make more impact, and I can better help people with where I'm located now and with what I'm doing at this time, than to say, okay, I want to abandon all this and just go back to Africa, and where I will not have that access to the technology here or access to the network which I already built within the United States to either help people here or people that are back in Nigeria or across Africa.
Everybody's purpose in life is to do something worthwhile while you're here, to leave a mark on this world, and be a good person and try to treat people with dignity and all this stuff like that, because that's what my dad instilled in us. I think we had that. I remember my dad always used to tell us, you treat people, you don't steal, you don't lie about people, and you work hard. And if you do those things, and everything will work, because that's our basis of even our faith. You know, we have to. God tells us that you have to treat other people as you want them to treat you, and I want people to treat me nice. So I'm going to try to treat you nice. You know what I mean? 'Cause that's how I feel, and I try to tell that to my kids, and hopefully it'll rub off. You know.
The U.S. Conference of Bishops hopes so too. In their pastoral letter, Strangers No More, the bishops insist that all people have the right to migrate to support themselves and their families, and that the dignity and human rights of undocumented migrants must be protected.
It's really sad to see so many people being separated from their families, especially their kids, because families been separated too. I don't think anyone likes to be separated from their family, and that's what they do whenever you're an immigrant. That's the risk that you're putting your life in here, because you can have your family here and one day your father will not get home because he's already with immigration.
They will do many jobs that other people don't want to do, and they will take any salary that the employment offers to them, you know, because they cannot ask for anything else. And this is the other side of the coin. It is not only that these people are struggling, but also there is people that is taking advantage of the situation. You know what I mean? They cannot get any rights because they are not documented, so they cannot go and complain to the police, okay? Their life is really difficult if they have a bad boss, if they were working and then the boss said, I'm not paying you. What can they do? They cannot do anything, you know? And are they going to go to the police? They cannot do that. So their life depends on really meeting good people and having good people around them.
I don't want to go back because the government doesn't help the poor people. It doesn't help making sure that people have work. They don't have social services. They don't help the poor people of the country. I don't want to go back to that.
Why, if we have in Mexico all the natural resources, and Mexico is a huge country and really beautiful country, why we cannot give these people jobs? That is really what makes me mad, that they have to run away from my country in order to get a good job and a good living. That really makes me mad.
Also maddening for legal immigrants is a seemingly indifferent bureaucracy that routinely turns down the most simple human requests.
It's assumptions, you know, they don't look at the truth, they don't look at the facts. How are you going to tell me Okay, here, I'm going to take you back to, I am a citizen now. They tell me, now your parents can come, petition for them, and we will grant them immediate visas, green cards actually. But they won't even, I won't even try that, because a green card requires that you must be in the United States for 6 months in every particular year. They can't be here for more than a month, so I'm not even going to waste that. But the ones that can probably stay here for the 6 months are my siblings who are younger, and they can probably come and, help with something or do something, but they won't grant those ones. So when I tried for my parents to come for my graduation, my father actually walks with a cane, and he went into that United States Embassy with that cane, and they're still telling him, if you go to the United States, you're not coming back to Kenya. That's not true. That's not even anything he can think about. He just wanted to come for my graduation, see his grandson, and go back to Kenya.
And he has a farm. It's not like
He had a title for his farm. He had pictures of his cows. He's not going to leave his cows for a year. Yeah, he has to go back. But they just wouldn't let him. I remember I cried for a whole day because it was very sad for me.
Even when I talked to my dad, it's like last time I talked to him, he was telling me, I wish I was a bird. I can just fly and see you and then come back. So it's difficult for them as much as it's difficult for us, but just knowing that we have opportunity that we wouldn't have had if I was there, or if we were all there, just keep them going.
There it is again, that American story. The willing separation from family despite the pain because of a hope for something better, because of what we all know as the American dream.
I will say the dream is still there, and the hope is still there. And, while you continue working and working hard to achieve your dreams, God is looking after you, and things might turn around, and you never know. Things happen for some reason. So we have our own plans, but again, in my spiritual life, and this is something personal that I would like to share, I always feel that there is a plan above us. So, we might have our own plans, we might want the things the way that we want it, but God knows, and my life is perhaps the best example of that. If you have had this conversation with me 15 years ago, I would have never dreamed that I would be here.
I want to study and go to college and get my my degree, because I want to be a dentist. But I think it's really hard for me to keep studying here when I don't have the right papers to go to. So my choice is either go back to my country and over there and go to college, and because I don't want to be here just for nothing.
En mi caso, sí, porque yo no estoy sola.
For myself, I would do it over again, because it's primarily for my children. It is they who need to be educated the way I was never able to be educated. It's for them that we've done what we did.
Yeah, I'll keep looking, and I'll keep fighting, and especially so I will keep trying to open eyes to the people so that they can see that we all can do something.
People have forgot this. America was built up by immigrants themselves. So just all the immigrants are now refusing other immigrants to come in. But I think this country was built by immigrant people.
To me, if you have a person that's willing to better themselves and their family, and they want to come to this country, it's only going to help the whole country, because the more good people you get here, the stronger we're going to be as a nation.
On behalf of the immigrants of Pittsburgh, I'm Lynn Cullen.